There's something percolating in the U.S. Senate right now that I wanted to bring to your attention because it is a very serious matter. Rhino Senator Mike Lee has put forward a plan this week to, as he is the lead sponsor, to push through legislation that would be detrimental to the American worker. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Lee's Senate Bill 386. It's called the Fairness for High-Skilled Immigrants Act. Think about this. Fairness for High-Skilled Immigrants Act. It would remove green card limits. It would allow the largest countries, India and China, those two countries, to pack green card lines with as many H-1B visa workers as they like, all eager to take up U.S. jobs and, historically, at significantly lower pay. Pushing this legislation are companies like Cognizant and Deloitte, who are two of the biggest sponsors of H-1B visa workers in all of America. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce also, well, that's where they're working, and they are pushing like the dickens, as is Microsoft and Google's parent, Alphabet. In this recent election cycle, that is the last election cycle, Senator Lee has raked in tens of thousands of dollars from big tech companies, including more than $33,000 from Microsoft, about $18,000 from Google, just for openers. Joining us tonight, former Reagan White House political director, Republican strategist, Fox Business political analyst, and most knowledgeable person in this country, I know, on politics. Good to have you.
Thank you. This is a critical bill for two reasons. One is the president has made a commitment to create jobs for Americans, and particularly young Americans coming out of college and what have you, with engineering degrees and healthcare degrees and what have you. And now you're basically, this bill would create a competition for them by giving these visas to Indian students who come here, particularly Indians, but, which is a country of 1 billion people. Give them jobs at lower rates, lower wages than the Americans.
Typically somewhere around 20 to 30% lower wages than prevailing wages.
Absolutely.
Even though they're talking about high-skilled workers, they're often in jobs that are, there are 4 basic quadrants of skill, and they're usually in the lowest of those 4 levels that define the H-1B visa.
As we've talked so many times, immigration is such a critical issue here, and what we always have to make sure is that American students, young Americans who are seeking jobs, that they have the benefit of their education, and that the competition is among themselves initially, and without creating this false competition by giving all these students from India advantages or the visa. And I think to a certain extent, this bill is kind of a sleeper bill being pushed through by all.
They tried to run it by with unanimous consent last week, and Senator David Perdue stopped it because he was uncomfortable, he said, with the language. I was cheering Senator Perdue until then I found out he'll support it once they fix a little of the language, which, again, led to considerable disappointment. Yes, I've been hanging around politics so long, I still get disappointed, and this is one instance.
Well, this is one of these bills. It's an imperfect bill. They admit it's an imperfect bill, and to me, anything that relates to immigration at this point in time needs to be a perfect bill, not an imperfect bill. And anything that's a detriment to young Americans coming out of colleges and universities with technical skills should be looked at.
This president is the president of the working man and woman in this country,
right?
And these senators need to be very careful about the position they put the president in. Radical Dems, a quote-unquote whistleblower who doesn't know, has no personal knowledge of anything, isn't a member of the intelligence community, and therefore isn't a whistleblower entitled to any kind of protections. I guess we should just ask this person, who the hell told you all this nonsense?
Well, this is all part of the deep state again that we've been fighting now for 2 years here, and I think the reality is that, as Rudy Giuliani so very effectively put, Biden's young son has been out there doing some things in this.
Well, the president makes it very clear.
Right.
We need to know what happened out there.
We should.
And I love the fact that the Dems just hate the idea that the president of the United States can ask a question
of a foreign leader. And the reality is.
And you've got Adam Schiff out there. Ed, he's out at it again. It's lying through his teeth.
He's been
just lying
He's
through
been
his
so
teeth.
dismissed, but you have to understand he is the speaker in waiting as far as Nancy Pelosi is concerned.
Yeah, well, he's a fraud in
her head.
the present.
And I think they're looking for any excuse to hold these impeachment hearings. This is.
So let them have at it.
I feel that way too.
They might as well
let them go. Let them go. They're not going to win it, and this is stupid. And they want to expose Biden.
If they want to indulge in self-immolation, then
But the one thing is, the national news media does need to get after this situation. I mean, and the idea, that, being realistic, otherwise there's
this
have
is
no
a
credibility.
comedy act. This is a comedy act.
Right.
A whistleblower who isn't a whistleblower, who is complaining about something he doesn't know or she doesn't know.
heard.
I mean, that's perfect for Saturday Night Live, not for the House of Representatives or the Senate. And it's always great to see you, partner.
My friend, you take care.
Thank you. You too, partner. Corey Lewandowski join us.